Hey, very good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Sean.
This is Alex.
And you're listening to another episode of Coaster Kings A through Z. Today's letter is H for
Hollywood Dream, the ride.
At Universal Studios Japan in Osaka, Japan.
Universal Studio Japan Hollywood Dream the Ride 飛ぶように滑らかとびっきりスリリングこれが世界に誇る高性能コースター絶叫爽快 Hollywood Dream the Ride 今だけの極限スリル期間限定後ろ向きバージョンも
Hollywood Dream opened in 2007, Universal Studios Japan's first major roller coaster. The $50 million ride was announced in July of 2006, and the ride opened to the public in the following March. It's a B&M mega coaster standing 144 feet tall, or 44 meters tall, and it is 3,900 feet, or 1,200 meters long, with a top speed of 56 miles per hour, or 90 kilometers per hour.
The smaller scale hyper-style coaster doesn't feature any particular large drops, but the ride is full of airtime and has great pacing. The ride's lift hill is housed inside a cylindrical tunnel, similar to Incredible Hulk, except for mostly the top of the tunnel is actually exposed, so you can look up at the sky, and it's kind of like an Art Deco style. Then afterwards, you crest a drop right at the park entrance, and then two of the ride's major airtime hills actually cross over the entrance plaza, which follow the shape of the domed glass roof, pretty much, that makes up for the Hollywood area of the park. So the entrance of the park is actually kind of indoor, it's covered because of, again, how much rain Japan gets, and both airtime hills beautifully kind of like circumnavigate just around the dome. It's really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very like Tokyo Disney with its giant glass World Bazaar area. It is kind of funny because like that tunnel feature that the ride has, it looks like a tunnel, but it is really just for sound barrier purposes.
Yeah,
right?
It's very much like California Screamin', where like it's not completely enclosed in most spots.
Well, old California Screamin'.
Old California. Well, that's why I said California Screamin'.
Yeah, before a credit coaster. Riders can choose one of 5 songs to serve as their soundtrack on the ride. This would mark the first instance of onboard audio on a B&M coaster. Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket would later employ a similar system, albeit with more song choices, although Hollywood Dream song choices do see regular updates, unlike Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket's song choices, which are stuck in a 2009 time warp. Both rides share similar concepts of a hypercoaster-like series of elements hovering over the midway, but the execution of the Orlando ride, which is built by Maurer, is noticeably different than that of a B&M ride.
So the cool thing about Hollywood Dream is that it's surprisingly forceful, but it's still kind of family-friendly. The ride does lack some dramatic maneuvers. The layout's kind of simple, more of like an out and back layout with numerous airtime hills and a small hammerhead turnaround on the front end, and then towards the end of the ride there's a helix that's over the park's central lagoon. If you're familiar with Universal Studios Florida, imagine a very similar park layout with the lagoon, except for where the new crepe place is in the central park. Imagine there being a big helix of Hollywood Dream kind of sitting on the water.
Yep. You know, if they really wanted to, if it weren't for the Bourne Stunt Spectacular, they could literally, like, it's not too late to clone Hollywood Dream.
There's something just strange around walking around Universal Studios Florida and then through the Hollywood area, and knowing it's the exact same as it is in Japan, except for Japan there's a giant B&M coaster towering over you. The finale of Hollywood Dream is actually inside a facade, like a tunnel, and it's to simulate like a red carpet, like flashing camera effect. So as you make your way to the brake run, you actually go through a tunnel with a bunch of flashing lights. It's kind of like, you know, the Hollywood thing. It's really kind of cute.
It's pretty cute. It's very Japan. In 2013, the ride was given a temporary enhancement, wherein one of the trains was turned backward. The experience was dubbed Hollywood Dream Backdrop. The backward train was such a success that the temporary enhancement is still being enjoyed to this day. So yeah, it's over 8 years now. Wait times for backdrop can be tedious, however, with generally only 1 out of every 4 dispatches being the backward train. The queues for backdrop can exceed several hours on a typical day.
Now the ride has 9 vehicle trains that hold up to 36 passengers each. It has a cool dual loading station. Usually they only operate 4 trains, one of which is the backwards train, and then the other 3 will be the forwards trains. Most of the rolling stock is purple and silver with beige sheets. The exception being, of course, the backdrop train. To kind of differentiate it, it's actually red and gold. They both, of course, have separate queues as well. The trains all have programmed LED lights, so at night they just kind of twinkle. There really isn't much to it, but they kind of just twinkle. The ride itself has a pastel purple color track with light beige rails and white supports. It may be kind of seen as gray from a distance, but it's actually just like faded purple, really.
Yeah. I couldn't really tell what color the ride is because I'm colorblind, so Sean had to completely rewrite this part of the script because he was like, what are you talking about? The ride doesn't look anything like this description. And I'm like, okay, you're right, but I just didn't know. But yeah, the light package, according to Wikipedia, the lead car has like a different light scheme than the rest of the cars, and it's supposed to create like a comet effect. Like a comet
I can see
trail.
that because the front of the train has kind of like a bunch of small lights on the hood, but then the rest of the train just has like 1 or 2 lights on each side. Because when we did like long exposures or shots of it at night, I remember that kind of I can kind of see how that's a thing. Yeah, okay.
Because I kind of forgot about that, but then I was reading about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that is, it's a great effect. It was way ahead of its time because now like every major coaster has complex light schemes on the trains. Like most major rides at Universal Studios Japan, Hollywood Dream is available with Universal Express Pass and also offers a single rider line, because of course single rider lines are like a culture at USJ. Almost every major e-ticket ride has one. So it offers these queue options in addition to their standard queue. Backdrop, however, does not allow Express Pass and does not have a single rider line, which means the red Backdrop train is generally the only time you'll see Hollywood Dream dispatch with any empty seats. Which is especially unfortunate considering how tedious the line for Backdrop is anyway.
One thing that makes the lines even more tedious is the loose article policy on this ride. It is a super strange system where you queue through the whole thing with all your belongings. That's all really like fine and dandy because you're in their line for so long, and there really is nothing to look at because this ride got just kind of wedged in between these facades, and like your queue is underneath the maintenance bay, and now they built 2 queues, and so like there really isn't much to do. It's one of the most boring queues in the world, and honestly that whole park is just like terrible with queues.
Yeah,
but
the only queue that's worse than Hollywood Dream
is Flying Dinosaur. Like somehow like this park takes like one of like some of the best, most prestigious awards in my mind, and also some of the absolute worst, like the worst queues out there. Like it's worse than any Six Flags park ever did.
It really
Anywho, so when you get to the platform, you actually have to put all of your loose articles on the side. So you cross through the train, put it on the side, and then you get to go into the train. However, they will not let you back into the train until they have completed wanded you. So there's like on each side, like on each platform, there's about 8 security people with wands, like metal detecting wands, that wand everyone down before they get into the train. So they're trying to dispatch these 4 trains like as fast as they can, but meanwhile they make everyone go through the train, put other stuff on the side, wand everyone, then get everyone to sit, and then push their restraints closed. And it's honestly, the operation could be a lot smoother if they just did like the locker thing that the US parks do, but I digress. Our advice though, when you go and ride these rides, or are considered both separate ride because they have separate queues and separate stations.
Yeah, Backdrop and the original.
I definitely highly recommend doing that first thing when you get to USJ. First of all, it's first thing in the park. Like when you get inside and you make a sharp right, it's really not far. It's kind of like Universal Studios Florida where it's in the Hollywood area,
right
pretty much where you go to Bourne.
Is,
it's that close to the entrance, so definitely make a point of doing it first because the line is long all day long. At night, it's highly popular because it's flashy. It's on the parade route.
Specifically Backdrop. Get in line for Backdrop first thing because
and Backdrop is not on any Universal Express Pass. There's no single rider line. So. Admittedly, single rider for Forward worked out quite well. It said it was the same length of time, like an hour and a half or something, but we got on in like 20 to 30 minutes.
They do love to overestimate the single rider lines. I think it's like a cover your butt sort of thing.
Yeah, but luckily for a Hollywood Dream, if you really have to, obviously you want to ride both, but definitely get in line for Backdrop first thing, get that out of the way.
Yeah, because there's just no way
around it. And then just like single rider regular. Mm-hmm. That's definitely what I would advise.
And whether you choose to do the Express Pass or not, it's imperative that you get in line for Backdrop right away because that's it. That's your only option is to stand by for it. So get that out of the way first thing.
Overall, I would say it's really unique kind of coaster, kind of like we mentioned sometimes with Goliath of Wallaby Holland, just because it doesn't reach a 200 feet point, for the US. It's still definitely a hypercoaster. It has a really strong air. It does kind of like the favorite B&M things, but I think one of my favorite things on this ride is actually Helix over the water. Yeah. Because we've been on so many B&M hypers, small and big, and Giga, and and I guess Mini Hyper, whatever you want to call this. The final helix really is a really spectacular moment. It's really smooth. It's like super buttressed, and I can't really think of any other hyper that I've been on from B&M that isn't a Giovanola that has like a nice solid helix.
Like
you know
a
what I'm
really
saying?
strong, straightforward.
And
helix.
like
Nice and
Goliath
tight.
has a good helix, but it's more like a giant drop helix,
Yeah.
you know, and over Georgia. But this really is like a tight helix, almost like a Togo moment.
Mm-hmm.
I really like
totally.
that.
Yeah, it's very
Japanese.
Yeah.
So overall, Hollywood Dream, really good ride. You definitely go to USJ for Hollywood Dream, Flying Dinosaur, and some of their big other e-tickets. Can't miss this one. Backdrop is definitely a highlight. God, I love that. That was maybe my favorite thing on the whole park.
Yeah, definitely with backdrop.
And without further ado, we will see you next week.
See you next week.
On another Minisode. This will be
Letter I?
Sven or Ian. Either one of those. I kind of love
Ian
Shrek.
was I.
Okay, so next week we'll be back with Ian and then Sven, and then we'll be back with 2 more episodes. Stay tuned every week. We got an episode for Coaster Kings A through Z Minisode, and of course every Thursday is a full-length episode. We'll catch you on the next.
Bye.
Bye.